Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engine. Today we're working on a John Deere LA125 riding lawnmower. They brought it yesterday and they started up taking off the trailer. And it was running so rich, black smoke was coming out of the exhaust pipe. Then when I was going to pull it in the garage this morning, it wouldn't even start. It just was clicking and stuff. So let's see what it does now after it sat in the shop for a few hours. It's just clicking, so it might be the battery or it might be the solenoid, but we'll do some testing on it to see what that is so we can get started to see what the motor's doing. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, had it on the battery charger for a couple hours. Make sure the battery is fully charged. We'll grab our battery load tester. And it shows almost 14 volts. Put a load on it. Well, it goes down to weak now. That's down in the red now. So we might have a dead cell in there. The battery was made February of 21. Let's throw a new battery in there and go from there. Okay, we put a new battery in there. Let's see what it does now. I got the clutch down with the parking brake on, so I shouldn't have to sit on it. Well, that sure as heck don't sound good. See, the throttle's way down to idle, and it sounds like the choke is on. But I don't like that grinding sound either, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take the air filter box off and we'll take this top cover off. Make sure there ain't no mouse nests in there or something, finding something out. So this is a Briggs & Stratton 21 gross horsepower. It's a 33 cubic inch engine. Them are good engines. Nice, powerful single cylinder engines. But let's pop that top off. Oh, I just noticed this here. Look at all that gas coming out of the muffler. We might have a bad carburetor around here. So yeah, look at all that gas coming out of there. Could just be flooding itself out. We'll take that cover off real quick. Okay, grab my tools here. That gas is still running out of the muffler. Well, at least we got it turned over. Air filter don't look that bad. These bolts on here are 3/8. You don't need to take them all the way off. Well, yeah, I guess you do on these. Some, you just pull them out of ways and they'll slide up. But these are solid ones, so we'll have to take them off. And there's two in the back. Then we got the fuel pump on this side over here. We'll just take the fuel pump off the bracket so we don't have to unhook any of the hoses. Well, the governor rod over here is all bent to crap. Let's try starting it one more time here, see what happens. Let's go ahead and pull that carburetor off. Check that out, because like almost like the choke is stuck, but it's not. Nice and free, so let's go ahead and pop that carburetor off. Okay, take that intake elbow off the carburetor. That's a 7/16. And there's two bolts, or two nuts, sorry. Get that elbow off. And gas is just running out of that carburetor. Choke's working just fine. These two bolts here are 5/16. They're not even tight. Just unscrew them off by hand. They're supposed to be tight. Get them 2 bolts out of there. And you just kind of turn it. This choke. Lever's not even on there right. There. Get that off. There's our carburetor. Gas smells good and everything. It's not old gas. So let's go take this over the bench and tear it apart. See if there's something wrong inside that carburetor. Just like dumping excess fuel through there. Check the oil there. See if there's any. I don't smell any gas in the oil. But we're definitely going to put a new plug in there once we get this fixed. How rich that was running. Okay, gonna spray it off the outside so don't get no dirt on the inside. And I guess what you can do on these too is like mark an etch in there so you know what side they go on. I like doing that. The fuel shutoff thing on the bottom is working. That is, do not light these carburetors, these Nicky carburetors. It's all plastic in here. I like the old Walbro carburetors they put on the older rigs. These new ones have these Nicky carburetors. This gasket's all flimsy and broke all over. Yeah, this little O-ring gasket here. I really can't see anything too terribly wrong with it. You know, on these the jets, you know, sometimes people tear apart and they lose that brass and thing in the center. That's the main jet right there. Sometimes when they tear them, they lose them. They're just like pressed in there in the plastic. They do pop out. But I really don't see nothing too drastically wrong with this. I've seen worse than this, and they still run good. Except for that gasket, that wouldn't account for the thing flooding out like it is. I kept on inspecting this carburetor here. I put a hose on where the fuel comes in, and I covered this where the fuel comes in to where it goes to the needle and seat. I plugged this hole up. I can still blow air in here. Like there's a crack, and it's either coming out that hole there or that hole there. You can hear it. We spray some carburetor cleaner on there and see where it's bubbling. Well, I think there's a crack in this carburetor, and that sometimes happens. You know, if you use an ethanol, and that kind of contracts water in there, and in the wintertime it freezes, and it's froze pretty hard a few times this year already. It's like it's coming out around here when you have that plugged up. That's crazy. But I don't see no cracks, but there must be a crack in there somewhere. It might even be in here. The only way to really tell is magnaflux it, and I'm not going to magnaflux a piece of junk carburetor. So I'm just going to put a different carburetor on there and give that a try. Because there's definitely a crack in there somewhere. Let's just go back to the machine and put a different carburetor on there. Okay, let's hook up the governor rod and spring. Get a pair of needle nose so I can get that spring in there. And bend that lip up a little bit so that spring don't pop out. This should be bent just a little bit. Whoever had this apart didn't put it back together, right? Go ahead and put our bolts in. And these are 5/16. Make sure they're nice and snug. Make sure everything's working. You get the wire cutters, that fuel hose is way too long. So we can go ahead and put this intake elbow back on. Get them snugged up. Get this crankcase breather tube back on that elbow there. And this hose here is way too long. Cut it right there, it'll be fine. There we go. Put the brake on. I need to put a new plug in there, but I'm just going to see what it does before we put a new plug in there. Oh, my fault, I forgot to plug in that shut off. Well, that runs so much better. I'm still going to put a plug in there because I think the other one might be getting fouled out all how rich it was. I'm going to go ahead and put the top back on and everything. And it'll run like a Deer again. That's crazy how there's some kind of a crack or something in that other carburetor. I've seen it on like log splitter engines and stuff like that. It just never on a rider. So I'll just put a new plug in there before we get that shroud on there. I'm sure they tried stuff to figure out why it was flooding like that. See how black and sooty that was. Looks like they put a new plug in there, but we're gonna use a regular Briggs and Stratton. We make sure they're gapped properly. That muffler's still kind of hot. Make sure that clicks into place. Now we can put that shroud on. Make sure it slides down into place. Now we'll hook the fuel pump back to the fuel pump bracket here. And I'm going to throw a new air filter in there too. So I'll finish tightening them back bolts up, put a new air filter in there, and be right back. Okay, let's put that new air filter in there and everything. Well, it runs like new again. That's kind of puzzling how that cracked that carburetor like that, but I suppose you get some water in there and it has froze a few times this fall, so anything's possible. But hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and if you like my videos, please press the like button and subscribe. Anyways, have a good afternoon. Bye.